today's topic is about long distance relationships.
So, in our personal experience for long distance relationship, it's quite possibly the longest distance relationship you could possibly have. Because I just lost my train of thought. Because I went to Korea, the South Korea, for a year. It was awesome and terrible all at the same time.
It's a beautiful country.
Yes, what she said. Very beautiful country. I went there to work on airplanes, do Air Force stuff. But it was from where Trisha, when I left, Trisha stayed in where I was at my first base, which was Little Rock, Arkansas.
Yeah.
So from Little Rock, Arkansas to Kunsan, I couldn't think of the freaking word. The time change was roughly 16 hours?
14 hours.
14 hours ahead.
Yeah, he was ahead of me.
So her Friday would be my Saturday.
Yes.
What?
Pretty much. Like, we only had, I think, from... I'm trying to remember. That we had a little small gap of our portion of being the same day. But basically, he was always a day ahead of me. Which, if you've never been in that situation, it takes a little bit to adjust to. Like, basically, what my night would be his day or morning, and vice versa. Like, our relationship, well, we'll cover relationship advice later, but, like, our relationship, it definitely grew because of the distance, which, I guess, like, we were looking up how distance affects other people and advice and stuff to see how we compared, but long distance relationships can either make you or break you, basically. It's not easy, and I think, honestly, they really focus on what is your commitment? Like, what is your commitment together? Because, especially with him being in the Air Force, I had to adjust my schedule to when he was free, because he was not free all the time. He did a lot of 12-plus hour shifts. So I had to adjust to when he was free, to Skype him, talk to him, and that was between 1 a.m. to 4 a.m. my time, which means it would have been 6 p.m. your time.
And of course, like, every so often there, they changed what shift you were on. So, I wouldn't always be on the same shift, so I'd have to be like, hey, this is my hours. I'll let you know when I'm free type deal. But previously, before that, before we were married, we did experience a little bit of
We did.
distance.
We did.
But however, she was in college.
Yes.
Up in Bowling Green.
Yep.
And
BG.
was I even still in the military at that time?
You were part of it. Part of it you were in high school, part of it you were in college, part of it you were at home, and part of it you were in the military.
Yeah, regardless, we had experienced a little bit of distance. But, we were still in the same time zone, so it wasn't nearly as bad. But when this came up, it was like a whole new world.
It was a lot.
It was a lot to keep track of, and especially like trying to, keep in contact with my family and friends. It was rough because, like, in Ohio it's Eastern, and then where she was Central. So I had to always think about, okay, so it's 1 p.m. my time. What time is it there? Math. But yeah, it was one of those experiences where, as you're in it, it sucks. It's just how it is. There's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
But looking back, it has obviously strengthened our relationship.
Yeah.
It has made us both better. I realized, I was doing things wrong, and she was doing things she didn't want to do.
Right.
But I also, it was like a way for me to be like, okay, I don't want to do this way anymore. So I'm going to improve. I'm going to do these things to, strengthen our relationship, because, that kind of made me realize it was like, I was kind of taking her for granted because she was always there. And we made the mistake before I left of kind of distancing ourselves from each other.
Yeah, we didn't know how to handle it. So,
yeah.
Which it happens. Like we read on it after the whole experience, and especially if you're in the military, if you're going to be part of that kind of experience, whether you're the one who's going away, you're the one who's at home, it is normal to kind of distance yourself because that's one of the ways to cope, but it's not the healthiest. It can make you very lonely, it can isolate you, and that's what we did. Like,
definitely communicate. Would be some advice I would give. Don't be afraid to, whether it's via Skype, phone call, email, however you can communicate to those who you know back from, or even if you're in a country where you know the language, which I probably should have learned a little bit more of the language than I did for Korean, because apparently Korean is one of the easier languages to learn, but I just didn't want to. But learn the language, if you know the language and you're comfortable going out and meeting people from the country, that's the best way to experience whatever country you're in. Definitely communicate with the people if you're in the relationship, communicate with your spouse or your girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever. Communication is key. If you keep that stuff balled up, the sadness, the anger, the unpleasantness, if you keep that anger built up, whenever you do go back to your home, eventually it's going to come out, and eventually it's just going to fester, and it's not going to be good. All it's going to do is damage the relationship more, and eventually it'll probably end up breaking the two of you apart. And so, like, communication is key for sure. At least from my point of view, because that definitely helped me get through some of the tougher days, knowing that I could email her, call her, Skype her, and she would be there and just listen, even though she may not have fully understood all what was going on. It still helped me to deal with the things that the stuff I was feeling and going through. So that's advice I can give.
And like what he talked about, if you're in a long distance relationship, whether you're in the military, you go to different colleges or different schools, don't lock yourself up in your room. Don't be bitter. Don't keep yourself lonely. Have a good support system. He found a really good support system. I had people who, I had friends at that time that I had made, but then I also had a girl step in and made sure that for my birthday I wasn't spending it by myself. And be willing to try new things. Like, you're not with your spouse or your partner, so maybe you've conformed to okay, this is what you do as a couple, but it's a good way to also become more independent. Like, if you haven't really had independence before, it's a good way to learn more about yourself, and then you can share that when you're together and show that person you've changed, and hopefully for the better. But if there's stuff that you have to deal with, even one-on-one, like he said, don't keep it in. Talk about it, and be open that long distance is not the same as a regular relationship. If you're always together, it's not going to be the same. Schedules might be a little bit different. Sometimes you might be not able to talk. That happened a couple of times. Most of the time we were able to, but sometimes it happened. And it's not anybody's fault. It's just, that's life. You have a different schedule. If you're on the other side of the world, different times, it happens. But, don't look at long distance as a negative thing. Look at it as a time to grow. If you really want to be with that person, you will find a way to keep that commitment. But if not, hopefully you learn something from it regardless. So,
I'm Caleb.
And I'm Trisha. And thank you for watching our video. Please like, share, and subscribe. And we will see you in the next one. Bye!